that relationship is gonna crumble. Girl, everybody is not your friend. You might have to leave them where you met them at. Girl, rest is productive. Take the nap. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today is a special video because it is my birthday. Your girl is officially 29, and as I was sitting here getting ready, I had the idea to do a chit chat, get ready with me, because I really want to talk about some lessons I've learned in my 20s, some mistakes that I've made, and some things that I wish I knew sooner. So that's what this little video will be, just a simple chit chat, get ready with me. If you're in your 20s, hopefully you can get something from this, and even if you're not, these are, I feel like, lessons and mistakes that we all have made, whatever chapter in our life. So I think you'll still get something from this video. So that's all today will be, a chit chat, get ready with me. So let's get right on into it. So let's start with the early 20s. If I could truly go back and tell my younger 20-something self, I would tell her to relax. Like, I can remember in my early 20s feeling like I had to have it all figured out, like I had to have a plan, and that's not what your early 20s are for. Your 20s period, I feel like your 20s are honestly for figuring it out. So to be so young and feeling like I had to have everything planned out and I had to have everything figured out, that was the biggest mistake I could have made even early on. Like, girl, relax. I felt like I had so much pressure on me, not from other people, but pressure that I put on myself. And the pressure stemmed from like feeling like I had to have my career figured out. I needed to know exactly what I was going to school for. I needed to have my relationship figured out. I needed to have everything figured out in that moment. And girl, I did not have any of those things figured out, if we're being honest. I'm glad I didn't have those things figured out, because I know firsthand what I may have wanted at 20, 21, 22 is definitely not something that I want now at 29. And it wasn't even something that I wanted probably at 25. So it just goes to show, early on in your 20s, you definitely, it's a plus if you do have it figured out, but you don't have to have it figured out, because as you get older, you learn more and more about yourself. And some things you probably thought 21-year-old probably thought like it was a good idea. At 25, I'm like, I could never. So, you know, it just goes back to show like your 20s are for figuring it out. Something else I would tell myself back then in my early 20s is that mistakes are lessons. Sometimes you're gonna fumble. That relationship is gonna crumble. You're gonna fumble some friends. You might fumble some jobs, but girl, do not give up. All of those mistakes, all of those things that you feel like you're losing are crucial to development and who you become as a woman or a man. So take those fumbles, just take them as lessons and figure out what to do better, whether it's a relationship, a job, a friendship, whatever the case may be. Use those fumbles as lessons. And to be completely honest, those mistakes are truly how you learn. How are you going to learn not to fumble a good job, a good person, if you don't actually fumble them? I know it sounds crazy, but those mistakes actually teach you some of the biggest lessons. And when you look back at it, or at least when I look back at those lessons, I am super grateful for them, because I can name exactly something that I got out of everything I considered a fumble. So to kind of piggyback off that, you might fumble a job, a good paying job, but what did you learn from that? You might have learned skills to take to another job. You might have saw exactly firsthand what you don't want out of colleagues, what you don't want out of a boss. You will find something to learn from out of that mistake, like relationships, friendships. Everybody is not your friend. Now, a person, me being 29 and having the same friends I've had since high school, to be completely honest, middle school, I don't have too many friends. But what I can see from other people, because you learn from other people too, is, girl, everybody is not your friend.
You ain't my friend. You is my enemy.
Do not be super pressed to just make friends. I think having friends are amazing, and everybody should have a good group of friends. But girl, everybody is not going to be your friend. And I learned this in college. Like in college, I met people, became really close to some people, but I was not really big on just like feeling like I had to make friends, because at the end of the day, we are all here for obviously school, to make connections, to make lifelong memories. But everybody will not have your best interest at heart at all times. Everybody is not going to be on the same, you know, just field as you, not in a bad way or a good way. It's just like, we're all different. So don't be pressed to make every single person your friend, because I have seen that go really bad, and you don't want that. Another lesson, or something I wish I would have known sooner while in my early 20s, is to take care of your body. I was someone who was fairly a little small, skinny size in high school, middle school. Basically my entire life I've been you know, kind of small. Girl, I got to college, or honestly, I would just say once I became adult and could buy my own food, I started kind of wilding out, girl. I did not work out, and that catches up to you. Here I am now at 29, girl, still trying to get some of the weight off, still trying to just get myself in a healthier state. So be mindful of the things that you are consuming, whether it's, you know, trash foods, alcohol, whatever it is that you're doing, be mindful. Just know in the early 20s, it's fun, but just know it definitely catches up to you, and it's something that you're going to forever want to take pride in, is caring for your body, caring for your health. Take all of that into consideration very early on in your 20s, so that when you are in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, all of the ages, you are thriving. Now, that was my early 20s. Let's kind of move on to the mid 20s. I had kind of started to figure myself out. I had started to learn a few things. And by this time, since I had learned a few things and I had experienced some life, I kind of knew to set boundaries. So that's my mid 20s. I would say like maybe around 24, 25, I really got to the point where I know who I am as a person. These are my boundaries that I'm going to set, and I'm going to have to stick to them, and I'm going to have to hold those around me. I'm going to have to make them respect my boundaries as well, because you need boundaries. And boundaries are a form of self-respect, to be completely honest. These are things that you're putting in place, whether it's for the people around you, like I said, the way that you want to interact with those around you. And it just kind of shows people that, hey, I respect myself enough to create these boundaries for myself. And if I'm respecting them, you are definitely going to respect them. And one of the boundaries that I think I have done a great job in, ever since, like I said, I decided to set boundaries, is my ability to say no. I'm not the type of person who feels like I have to accommodate everyone around me. While I do always take people into consideration, and I do want to be someone that they can, you know, rely on and things like that, I know how to say no. And I've known how to say no, like I said, since around my mid 20s. And I feel like this is a boundary that I set that has helped me really thrive, be independent, and also just have people know what to approach me with, the type of things to bring to me. Because I have those boundaries and I know how to say no, people know exactly basically what I will go for and what I won't go for. And this is something you should not even wait till your mid 20s to try to do. Do this in your early 20s, because I'm telling you, I can literally see a difference from when I decided to be like, no, and when I decided to set boundaries and actually stick to them. Something else that happened around like my mid 20s that I would say right along with boundaries that really helped me out is learning how to heal, whether that's healing from failed relationships, failed friendships. You have to learn how to heal, and you have to learn how to heal in a healthy manner. Healing for me was accepting things as they were, letting go of like toxic behavior and trying to control everything and to change the outcome of some situations that were just like, this is how it ends. This is what it is. Accept it, heal, and move on. So learning how to heal is going to be crucial for, you know, eliminating toxic behavior from your life, eliminating self-sabotage, eliminating just anything negatively that comes from not being able to heal properly. Learning how to heal is not something that's going to happen for you overnight. This can be done through therapy. This can be done through journaling. This can be done through, like I said, cutting off toxic behavior, cutting off toxic people that bring out that behavior inside of you. All of those things are ways to really get on the right track to healing, so that in the future, the things that happened to you in the past don't continue to hinder you as you try to grow. If you don't love yourself, you will continue to accept anything from anyone, which will ultimately again lead to you living a life where you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, and it's probably going to bring out negative emotions from you, toxic behavior. So love yourself, make that your priority. Love yourself so that others know how to love you, others know how to approach you. You respect yourself so others have no opportunity or nothing else in mind but to respect you. Another lesson I would say I learned in my mid 20s is learning not to let work consume you. Your early 20s, like I said, you're going to school or you're figuring out what career is going to work for you. When you're in your mid 20s, you're working. You're currently trying to, elevate in your career. You want the best out of your career. You are working hard, hard, hard. A lesson that I learned, honestly, maybe even in my late 20s, but definitely starting in my mid, girl, these jobs will replace you. It's honestly not that serious. Don't overwork yourself or don't let work consume you. because at the end of the day, it's honestly just work. And like I said, these jobs will replace you in a day. So don't devote all of your time, all of your energy. Don't allow work to stress you out, because at the end of the day, you have to go home, and again, you can be replaced. Instead, find hobbies, find other things that you can do outside of work that is going to bring you joy, so that when you're at work, you know that, okay, I'm full on work mode. But the minute you leave, you also understand that you still have a life. You're not overconsumed with work. You're not bringing work home. Find something outside of work that brings you joy. So as I've gotten closer to 30 and I've experienced my late 20s, I would say that I have got to a point where I strategically, or I purposely move different. I try to protect my peace, and I'm focused more so on building. I mentioned earlier, I think your 20s are for learning. I think your 20s are for figuring it out. I don't think you're necessarily going to have it all figured out by the time you are 21. So use your 20s to make those mistakes, to learn those lessons, because I know for me, I'm excited about 30 and beyond, because the mistakes that I made, I feel like now I know how not to make those mistakes, or I learned the lessons from the mistakes. So I'm going to take the lessons that I learned and apply them to my 30s, my 40s, and hopefully thrive, because I have a little knowledge. You know, I've been in the game for a little minute now. And I feel like I use my 20s to really learn. Not that it was intentional. I just feel like that's how life plays out for most of us. So if you're in your 20s right now, whether it's your early 20s, late 20s, mid 20s, use your 20s again to figure out life. You might have wanted something in your early 20s that now in your late 20s, you just do not see for yourself. So take the time to live those experiences, so that when you enter your 30s, your 40s, those experiences are going to be beneficial for you. So now, for example, like financial literacy, the lessons I had to learn in my 20s about like money management, how to save, how to invest, all of those things. Now that I'm in the next chapter of my life where I'm actually going to need to apply those things, or those things that I did in my early 20s, my mid 20s, my late 20s, the things that I did are now actually going to benefit me. It's honestly like, I'm so glad I had to experience that. I'm so glad I had to learn how to make my money work for me. I'm so glad I had to learn how to save money. Just all of the lessons, period. I feel like that is a great example how in my 20s, financial literacy, I was learning. I was figuring it out. I was making mistakes. But now that I'm older, the mistakes that I made, I know exactly what to do now. And I'm still learning, to be completely honest. I feel like I am just now going to be able to reap the benefits of learning how to save, learning how to invest, learning how to make my money work for me. So while it might not have been fun in my early and mid 20s, I feel like now that I'm in my late 20s, and I just feel like I'm about to thrive in that department. Another thing about my late 20s that I have become an expert at is romanticizing my life. And it started with something as simple as taking myself on solo dates. Once I started to do that, I started to figure out what I like, what I enjoy, the hobbies. And so now I'm just super big on romanticizing my life and making everything seem like a vibe, making everything seem like an experience, because that's what life is about. So when I become 30, and like I said, beyond, I'm going to keep that up, because it gives me just all of the feels. It makes me feel like any little thing I'm doing, I do it with purpose, like taking myself out to eat. It's just something so simple as that has really allowed me to romanticize my life. I truly do find joy in the little things. I love getting dressed up. I love doing my makeup. As you can see, I just love experiencing life, and that's something that did not happen for me. I always loved getting dressed up. That's a lot. But romanticizing life, that's something that I started to do in my late 20s for sure. Another thing, like I said, I mentioned right now, I am big on protecting my peace. If it's going to upset me, I am doing my best to not even let those things come close to me, because peace is the most important thing. If I don't have peace, nobody has peace. If I don't have peace, I can't be who I need to be to the people around me. So protecting my peace is something huge for me now and forever. Now that I'm almost done, basically, let's talk about things I wish I knew sooner. Now, I've already said it, but I wish I knew that my early 20s were for figuring it out. Literally making mistakes. No one has it all figured out. And everybody, we all go through things. We all experience rejection. We all experience disappointment. We do not all have it figured out. We may all have a plan, but we definitely don't have it all figured out. Even the people, especially with social media, even the people that look like they have it all figured out, they do not have it all figured out, and that's okay. Another thing I wish I would have known, it's okay to outgrow people. Just because you grew up with the person, just because you were in a relationship with them for so long, it is literally okay to move on. It is okay to outgrow people, relationships, friendships, And sometimes, girl, it might have to be some family members. It just depends on, you know, what the situation is and how they are making you feel. Do not feel guilty for having to outgrow people. You might have to leave them where you met them at. And again, that's okay if it's going to protect your peace and it's going to, you know, allow you to thrive in life and just, you know those situations. So just don't be afraid. That's one lesson I would have known. Don't be afraid to outgrow people. Some people will say you changed, oh, you're different, you're acting funny. Let them say all those things, because my number one goal in life is to always become a better version of myself, and that's going to require change. So let them say whatever. Keep doing what you have to do to make you that better person. Another thing, confidence is a choice. If you choose not to be confident, you're not going to be confident. People are not going to view you as a confident person. But if you decide, I'm a confident person, I know this about myself, I'm going to carry myself like a confident person, everybody around you is going to view you that exact same way. So if you've ever said, I don't know how to be more confident, or I don't know how to be confident, just know in order to be confident, or how to be confident, is simply just deciding that you are confident. And probably the last thing I wish I would have known earlier is, girl, rest is productive. Take the nap. Literally, take the nap. Don't try to be going in overdrive all the time. Burnout is not a flex. It's actually a sucky experience. If you've ever experienced burnout, you just feel like you don't have anything left in the tank to give. So remember, rest is productive. Take all the rest you need, especially if it's going to keep you from getting stressed out. Prioritize rest. But to be honest, I am truly grateful for my 20s. I feel like while they may have been in the beginning a little hard, a little messy, they were fun. They were exciting, they were meaningful, and they definitely played a role with who I am today. All of the mistakes I made in my 20s, all of the lessons I learned in my 20s, I feel like right now at 29, I can truly say they were meaningful. They just made me a lot more sure of who I am as a person, and I am super excited for what's next in my life, all of the years to come. My 20s were truly monumental for me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close the video here. But remember, if you are in your early 20s, remember to slow down. Don't rush. You have time. You do not have to have everything figured out. And if you are in your mid to late 20s, embrace the person that you are. Remember that the mistakes, all of the lessons that you made have made you who you are today. We are still all out here learning and growing. And if you are not in your 20s, I know that you still know to give yourself grace. Remember, you are who you are. Continue to strive to be the best version of yourself. If you are interested in any of the makeup products that I use, I will have them linked down below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next video. Bye.